bombshell new report from Michael Schellenberger over at Public, his newsletter. He's done some great reporting on the subject, so I would definitely want to give him credit. Let's please go ahead and put this up there on the screen, and I'm going to read a little bit from his report. Quote, in August, shortly after the U.S. government UFO whistleblower David Grush gave testimony to Congress about crashed spacecraft and alien biologics, many observers wonder how much credence to put into his testimony. Grush is just a single individual. The other two individuals were just former Navy pilots. But at least 30 whistleblowers working for the federal government or government contractors have given testimony or a protected disclosure to the Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General, the Defense Inspector General, and to Congress over the last several months, according to multiple sources now interviewed by Public. When told whistleblowers had come forward to share this information, even skeptics, people like Mick West, had said it'd be interesting. More people saying the same thing independently makes it more likely to be true. What they say is that this is all in the backdrop of a very confusing report, Krystal, that came out from the Inspector General that was made on September 15th. In that September 15th letter, the current Inspector General of the intelligence community appeared to deny that his office was investigating these claims. He said, quote, that the office has not conducted any audit, inspection, evaluation, review of alleged UAP programs within responsibility authority of the DNI. But the wording, actually, of his response gives him a lot of wiggle room, of which this testimony now fits into, which is that the original official taxonomy quote for the ICIG activities include audits, investigations, inspections, and reviews. It is then curious that an investigation is not being denied. So there's a lot of word salad that this all comes back into, but the very basic is what Schellenberger can report. More than 30 former or current officials have made classified disclosures to the Inspector General of both the DoD, to Congress, and to the intelligence community around some of these alleged programs. And some of the details about what's actually happening here, really go into some of what Grush has made claims around, both in terms of recovered craft, quote unquote biologics, in terms of quote like kinetic incidents in some cases, between these alleged, how do I say it, beings, craft, whatever people are saying. And I think it's just pretty extraordinary. The other one that I definitely want to highlight is this quote, testimony has included both firsthand and secondhand reports of crash retrieval and reverse engineering programs by the United States, Russian, and Chinese governments, the testing of materials obtained from retrieved craft, active and ongoing government disinformation operations, kinetic military action with UAPs, aka a shoot-down or a tried shoot-down, and contact collaboration with, quote, non-human intelligences, and the successful reverse engineering of a triangle-shaped craft with unconventional propulsion. So some more interesting reporting there coming out from Michael Schellenberger. And before everybody says, like, show it to me, I agree. Listen, show it to me. I want to see it too. I want to see him come before Congress. But don't forget, we're seeing a major stonewalling right now in Congress. Congressman Tim Burchett, Anna Paulina Luna, they've said we will have another hearing, all of that. That's what they've been granted. But they still have not been given the special compartmentalized access to be given a classified briefing by Grush, which it doesn't make any sense to me. I've spoken now with people on the Hill, and I'm like, if you're a normal congressman, like, why is it so hard to just book a special compartmentalized facility to get a briefing? And they're like, well, if it had to do with Iran or something like that, you could get it done easily. But they keep getting denied access, and it's all up to the House Intelligence Committee, which apparently doesn't want anything to do with this. So there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on behind the scenes.
I mean, it's very, if this is true and you've got 30 to 50 more whistleblowers who are corroborating some aspects of the story, obviously anyone would have to look at that and say that's very interesting.
Of course.
Is there, Saagar, do we have any expectation of when we'll learn more about what these whistleblowers are saying? Because the information here is very vague about what pieces of the story they're corroborating, whether it's actual, the craft retrieval programs, et cetera, or whether it is wrongdoing within this program, which may not be indicative of anything with regard to extraterrestrial life.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where the disclosure can only come through an open forum, and the only open forum that we currently have is Congress, and Congress needs to do more of what they did with Grush. One of the reasons why I love that hearing is, look, it's all under oath. If he lied, I'll be the first one to prosecute him, all right? Throw his ass in jail because he wasted my time and he wasted the American people's time. He said all this stuff under oath. Now, let's get to the point of Well, did he lie? Did he not lie? Let's get to the investigation of the Inspector General community. And also, in terms of the way that all of these come out, the parsing of the language, they always try and emphasize one thing. There's nothing going on behind the scenes. This is all crap. But they always leave themselves room for no real explicit denial of what's happening. And I just have to recall that when Grush came forward, his claims, I'm not saying they were vetted by the Inspector General, but they called them urgent and credible, his allegations that were made. He's now spoken out. Did a big documentary with some of the Yes Theory guys. I recommend people go and listen to it if you're interested. But what I'm looking for is not just David Grush. I mean, to me, no offense to him, I think he's a courageous man for coming forward. But it's not about him. It's about the claim, whether it's true, and whether there are multiple other people who can corroborate it. So Schellenberger, I mean, was one of the first to also report after Grush came forward about some of what was going on. He's a knowledgeable source, and his reporting has not been denied, by people inside of the intelligence community, by the DoD Inspector General. They always fall back on the same thing, like with the BS NASA conference. They're like, we've got no evidence of extraterrestrial life. It's like, yeah, but you're admitting in an open forum you have no idea what any of this stuff is.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah, you have no evidence that it is. You got no evidence that it isn't. You just have no evidence, period, because you don't know what the hell is going on. And look, obviously, I want to believe, but I'm keeping my skeptic's hat on, as everyone saw with the aliens incident, the bodies. On this one, I just want more people to come forward in a public setting, and ultimately it just comes down to programs like ours educating people so that they can pressure Congress. I mean, one thing that I will say about the public pressure, when I showed up to that UFO hearing, I was stunned. There was only 30 seats for the public. Hundreds of people lined up out of the back. The staffers told me they had not seen public participation or enthusiasm for a hearing like that since the freaking Mueller report in 2017. And there's a very different crowd. Some guys that I met there, Birch had even talked about this. One guy flew all the way from Belgium just to attend this hearing. Like, people are really interested in the subject. So yeah, I know. I wouldn't do it. But hey, Belgium's a boring country. No offense. It's very beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
They have good chocolate,
yes,
right?
Good chocolate, good fries, frites, as they call them there. So
good
beautiful.
Waffles.
I didn't try the waffle. Did have the hot chocolate. It was delicious. Antwerp, by the way, one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to. Shout out to Antwerp. But my point, though, is that immense public pressure and public interest, it's something these politicians, and no offense, I think Burchett is a believer, but the rest of them, they don't care. Okay, they don't care either way. But they see that the public is animated and interested. And so I think it was a big wake-up call for many of the people, at least anecdotally from what I saw when I was in the room. Many of the people who were in Congress were stunned at the amount of attention that they were receiving Burchett was greeted like a celebrity. He was taking freaking selfies with that. So play a little bit to their vanity, make it politically beneficial to them to push for investigation. And because a lot of the powers that be behind the scenes, like I said, the House Intelligence Community and a committee and others, they're trying to quash this stuff. And so if you show them that it's undeniable and that we have to have more disclosure, more people under oath, and to just talk about it in an open public setting and forum and get real yes or no answers to our questions, that's how we move forward and actually have a path to real transparency, which is what our goal should be.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.